Hello and welcome to this course in model-based testing given at Chalmers and GU this spring. I hope you're uh, well out there and that neither you nor anyone in your family or friends have been too much affected by the COVID-19 situation. As you have heard, the courses at Chalmers and GU will be given online as remote distance courses in period 4. I'm going to introduce this course, model-based testing, to you today. My name is Robert Felt. I'll the examiner and will be the main lecturer of the course, and I will have some support by two TAs that I will introduce later today. So, who are the teachers? Yes, here we are. I'm the course responsible. I'll have most of the lectures, as I told you. I'll design the exam, assignments, support that, and grading, and take care partly of the course web in Canvas. Jan Schroeder has been the TA before in this course for several years, but he's getting to the end of his PhD studies, so he will only be involved in part 2 on model-based testing. And Hongyi Xiang will be supporting me instead in the assignments, giving task feedback, handling the web, and correcting exams, and so on. So you can see how to reach myself and Hongyi here. And please feel free to mail us any comments, feedback you have. Of course, you know that this is new for us to give this course online. I have, of course, given other courses online before. But you know, any type of feedback you have, how we can improve the course, make it better for you, please mail us or talk to us in the online sessions. So for this first module, I'll give you a guide to the course, introduce it and its format and the main structure of it. Talk about the assignments and examination, of course, and then in the end present how we've changed the course in recent years, and especially then due to the COVID situation, how we're taking it online and virtually. So first, a little bit about myself. I'm Robert Felt. I was originally born here in Gothenburg, in Sävedalen, Partille, outside Delsjön, the woods to the east of the city. And I'm a hacker at heart from very early age. I got a Texas TI 99 home computer. I think I was 6 or 7 probably. And I started developing code and programming that, doing demos then onto the Commodore 64, 128, and mainly on the Commodore Amiga back in the 80s. And so I've actually developed and sold programs since I was 13. I sold my first program back then. And really, I sort of loved programming and computers and so on from early age. And I kind of knew I had to go to Chalmers, and so I did. I started a computer science and engineering program in the 90s, and then I continued on to do a PhD at Chalmers. And I've continued being a researcher in this field. During my studies, when I did my master at Chalmers, I also started being a consultant. So I've developed software and done testing in industry as in parallel to actually being an academic and researcher. And since 2013, I'm a professor of software engineering, and I lead research in 2 main areas, and one of which is software testing, in particular using AI and machine learning techniques, search-based testing, to do smarter testing. But also lately I've been interested in how do we test machine learning systems themselves. The other field I work with is psychology of software engineering teams, but we will not be discussing this in this course. So really, that's a little bit about myself. Testing has always been fascinating to me. Many people view testing as a rather simple part of software development, software engineering. I think it's the opposite. And actually, if you go to the real tech industries, you will find that testers, to be a good tester, you need to be both a good designer and a good developer with lots of experience in order to really do good testing. So, you know, in the tech companies, you can have very high salaries as a tester and quality person. If you go to more traditional companies who are not really tech or software companies, then sometimes testing is viewed a little bit as a more simple task and not always done by the most highly skilled personnel. But in tech industry, you will see for sure that testing requires a lot of experience to really do good testing. So that's a little bit about myself. If we come to the course itself, here are the sort of a summary of the learning outcomes. Of course, you can find a lot of these details in the course PM that I've uploaded to the Canvas webpage. And you see here, we divide the learning outcomes in knowledge and understanding, competence and skill, and judgment and approach. And I will not go into the details here. You can see this also in the course PM. But I will say that with model-based testing in this course, we don't only view it as the traditional model-based testing, which is basically UML and graphical models that are then used to drive automated testing. But we have a wider and broader view, which will be more useful to you in industry and also in research, where model-based testing is nowadays a much broader term than the traditionally how it's been viewed. So a very important part of the course is that you can sort of make trade-offs, discuss and understand these different techniques and their pros and cons, and to apply also some of them in practice. So if we go on to the course format, so here's we've had to change this a little bit. We basically have the same structure, so there are 3 parts to the course. It's the sort of basic test techniques to get all of you up to the same page in understanding basic testing. Then the second part is on model-based testing, which is sort of the traditional model-based testing that is still used a lot in, for example, embedded software companies and embedded systems companies. And then in the final part, we will do more advanced model-based testing and advanced automated test techniques, and we will also touch on testing AI and using AI in search for better testing, so sort of smarter testing. So each of these 3 parts will have several modules. So instead of having traditional lectures, we'll try to split the lectures into modules, which are a little bit shorter, video material, some text material or papers for you to read, and we will have a Q&A session online on Zoom, 1 or 2 per week, depending on the schedule overall. And for each module, there will also be a small task for you with questions you need to answer. And and this will not be part of the examination, but they will be important for you to help you check your understanding and also to help me give feedback to the class as a whole. So the next module will unlock when you've answered the task for the previous module. And then I will look at your tasks, your answers, and I will try to see if there are some patterns in that, and I'll do a short feedback video to give collective feedback to your tasks. Yes. So here you again see the 3 parts. Well, this is part 0. It's kind of introduction and motivation and this course guide. So we're in module 1 now, and I will upload later this week module 2, which is an overview more of the core topic. Today we'll talk more about the course outline and format. And then we start part one, which is basics of retesting techniques. So some of you might know about some of these techniques already, but then it's good, but some of you will not. So it's important that we cover these basics because this gives us an understanding for the more advanced parts 2 and 3. So we'll cover the modules in part 1 will be on white box testing, so the most classical. How do we cover all elements of the source code, so-called coverage-based or structural testing. We will also discuss different black box testing techniques such as requirements-driven, scenario-driven, risk-driven testing, and one of the more common techniques being boundary value testing, so testing stuff that are on the borders of interesting behavior of the software. Excuse me. And in part 2, then we will focus on the traditional model-based testing, where you have some model of the behavior, typically of the code or the structure of the system, and you use that to drive the testing in different ways. So that's going to be the sort of traditional model-based testing. And then in part 3, we will go through more advanced model-based and automated testing techniques, as I mentioned earlier. There will be 3 assignments, basically 1 per part. Assignment 1 is going to be on automated testing tools. It's an individual assignment, and the deadline is in right after the re-exam period, after Easter, so April 15th. And this is actually a week or 2 later than what we did in previous years, but given that we have this online remote course, distance course now, I want to give you a little bit more time to get started, and we'll see. Maybe we'll have to adapt the course a little bit as we go along. But this deadline is set, and then more information about the other assignments will come later. Also on assignment 1, we will do a video introduction on each assignment, and also there will be Q&A session or support sessions also for the assignments. We're not yet sure about assignment 2 and 3 if we can do all of them as individual assignments, but probably we will try to. Maybe one of these assignments is a little bit harder to do individually because, yeah, we want also to address a little bit a larger problem. But we will get back to you with this, and I hope you will accept that because of this very quick switch to an online course, some things will have to be fixed as we go along. So basically there will be reports. Last year for assignment 1, we actually had individual presentations more in the lab setting. So every student in the course presented their results, but most likely we will do the reports being a little bit more meaty instead. I don't think we want to do a video presentations from all students because we don't know how good a connection you might have or not and so on. So hopefully this will work out. The course material, we will be using more online material because I think this is easier for you to access given that the course is also remote now, so having a sort of paper PDF-based book doesn't really fit this format as well. So there will be basically 3 sources for the material. STTP on bullet number 2 here is an online course from Delft University of Technology called Software Testing from Theory to Practice. We will call this STTP, and it's freely available online on this URL. And it's more for the basic material. So this course is given in Delft as the initial testing course, but I know from previous years of giving our course here, that some of you will not have had a lot of testing background. So for you, it's important to cover this material. So this is part of the course and is available for all of you. I will complement this with research papers to give more advanced state-of-the-art knowledge, of course, and also we will take some parts, not so many, from the fuzzing book, which is a more advanced book on using fuzzing, which was originally a technique for security testing, but in some sense, this book is about general automated testing and how do you generate good test data and good test cases. So we'll not focus on the fuzzing book, but there are some parts of the course where we'll use its material. The good thing with both of these books is that they give fairly concrete code-based examples. I think STTP is mainly Java-based, the fuzzing book is Python-based, but it's going to be short, almost pseudocode-like examples, even though so you can run it if you're familiar with these environments, Java or Python, but you probably will not have to. But it's good. It's good that they have concrete examples like that. The written exam, of course, will be a little bit different now. So it will be an individual written home exam, and probably it will have to change a little bit from early years because it's done at home. And, you know, we will evaluate the exams you had now in period 3 and possibly will update a little bit. So the starting time and the dates are given here on this slide. So it's June 3rd from 8:30 in the morning, but depending on how what we learned from period 3, we might have to change the ending time here, giving you more or less time depending on what is the best way to do these home exams. So I will get back to you on that. Don't forget to sign up. So you can already sign up until May 13th. You can sign up for the original exam. And then in the summer, if you need to, you can sign up for the re-exam, which will be in August 21st. And of course, now we don't even know, will it be a home exam or will it be a normal exam, depending on the COVID situation. So don't forget to sign up. You can, of course, find this in your normal student portals and online and so on. A little bit about the video lectures. So maybe this slide is a little bit obsolete now because I will maybe have to adapt the video lectures a little bit depending on what we find useful for this online format. But basically, in this course, it's a mix and match from colleagues, my own slides, and so on. And I think actually as an advanced course, this is fine because it doesn't have to be streamlined. We expect a lot from you now. You're advanced students and you can take in information from different sources and critically. This is also one of my main goals with this course. We want to learn you how to think about testing and really understand the depth of it and giving you a very broad palette of techniques that you can use for testing. So we don't only want to teach you some facts or concepts or techniques. So very important, we need a discussion, an open discussion, and hopefully we can get this going. We want you to participate, so please take part in the Q&A sessions that will be available for the modules. And, ask questions, make comments. You can also contact me or Hongyi directly on email, of course. I want to thank some of my colleagues that have given me materials. So Emil Allegrot, Bogdan Marculescu, and Kai Pitsen are my old colleagues or PhD students in Blekinge that have developed part of this material. Gerardo Schneider was my predecessor giving this course at Chalmers. Also Jeff Offutt and Paul Amann are authors of a very famous testing book, and they also provide slides for that, which we will sometimes rely on. Gordon Fraser is another colleague, and Andreas Seller, who have written the fuzzing book, but also done a lot of important work in testing. And then the STTP course is by Mauricio and Ari van Dursen in Delft. And also thanks to them for making their course available online for all of us. So what's bad in these lectures and in the course is my fault, and what's great comes from all of these nice colleagues here. So big thanks to them. I mention only the name here of the student representatives. We will put the emails in Canvas because we don't want to put the emails here, which might be available to everyone on the network. So Daniel, Hampus, Philip, Pallavi, and Mohammed have been selected as student representatives. So if you have comments about the course, you can either go directly to me or Hongyi, or you can go through these student representatives. If we look, so I took over this course in 2018. Before that, the course was much more narrow, focused on traditional model-based testing from, let's say, graphical or formal models. But now, since 18, we've included a wider set of techniques, wider set of models, not only finite state machines or extended finite state machines. We have, rather than have one very large assignment, we have multiple and smaller. So we cover more breadth and ground, but we don't go as deeply into one single assignment. So there are pros and cons of this, but this fits the current format better. We introduce guest lectures, but sadly, or it's unlikely we can do this this year because we have the distance learning situation. We also had a guest workshop before from MATLAB Simulink, which was very important because Simulink is in the traditional model-based testing space. This tool is used a lot, but it's unlikely we can do this workshop this year. Because of the distance and the COVID situation, basically. So I will still try to get some guest lectures done remotely or pre-recorded, but we'll see. I cannot promise that. So if we cannot make this happen, I will have to cover these areas instead. What have we done since the last year? We've done more reflection on the assignment results, but of course we cannot have presentations and discussions of your assignments in the whole class when we're doing it online. It's not so convenient, I think, and we cannot train presentation skills. So, this is going to be a little bit different, and you will be more working individually on the course. Don't forget to register if you haven't done so already, and you can use your normal ways of doing this. I think, yes, so each module will have a short task. So the tasks will not be part of the examination in the course, but the task will look up the next module for you. And the tasks are important for yourself to know that you're taking part in the course and understanding the material. And when you submit these fairly short, 3 to 5 maybe questions per module, you submit it in Canvas, and I will look at if there are some patterns in your different answers, and I will do a short feedback video to give you collective feedback. And I will not, of course, it will be anonymous. I will not take any bad examples from your answers. I will talk about the general patterns of things that you have done well and seem to have understood, and some things maybe that I need to clarify. But the task for this first module is more about your background. So there are a few questions, there will be a few questions in Canvas about your programming and testing experience, what relevant courses you have taken and so on. So with that, I welcome you again to the course. If you have any comments or about the format or the course already at this early stage, please get back to me or to Hongyi. And I'm looking forward to the course. Testing is great. It's an important topic. I work continuously helping many large global and Swedish companies to improve their testing, and they frequently put a lot of effort and focus on this, and it's going to be important to you in your career, and it's very rewarding area. So looking forward to this. take part, study the material, watch the videos, and ask your questions, and we're gonna have fun. Thank you very much, and see you on the net.